So hello everyone, I welcome you all to The Concept YouTube channel. So let's discuss today's topics. So first topic is related with the research in Arctic region. This is again a very important topic. Question can be framed under GS paper 1 and GS paper 3 both. GS paper 1 under geography section and GS paper 3 under environment section, the question can be framed. We will try to understand that why it is required to do research in the Arctic region. Next is about the Cambridge Analytica case. The question can be framed or the example can be used if the question is related with cyber security, data security, privacy and all under GS paper 3. Farmer protest, certain points we will discuss. This initiative, Covax initiative, that also we will discuss. Then about the census, certain arguments related with the census, then small news, and in the end I will give you the mains question. So this session is presented by me. My name is Saurabh Pandey. You can join me on Unacademy. I take current affairs, and after agriculture optional, I will launch in March IR and science and tech courses. For the prelims prospective, this is also a very important course. At the same point of time, agriculture optional is going on. You can join it, and every month current affair course is launched. Since last 1.5 year, this course is launched every month. So if you are preparing for 2022 2023, you can be part of these courses. Also, there are many batch courses specific to prelims for the 2022 students, for 2023 students. NCRT batch courses are also there. You can be part of this as well. Iconic prize. Iconic is a very important subscription. The unique feature of Iconic subscription is that you will be able to connect with your personal coach, main test series with evaluation. All these things are provided. So what you have to do, you have to take Unacademy subscription, and you can go for Iconic or Plus, but you need to choose GS and optional both for 1 year and 2 years, and you can do the your planned preparation. The link of Unacademy is given in the description box. You can go there. You can put UPSC, you can select UPSC CSE category, and then you can start your preparation. To download the PDF of this session, you can visit Telegram channel SP Current Affairs. Also, you can download it from this channel as well. The link is given in the description box. SP Current Affairs. You can follow me on Unacademy, unacademy.com/@, unacademy.com/@SPLab. So the first news is no second attempt for the UPSC aspirant. As per the government, the government has stated that or the UPSC has stated that there will be no extra attempt given for UPSC aspirants because last year in 2020 many of the students they were not able to prepare for the exam. So like there were students whose last attempt was there and they need to give the attempt, but their preparation was not that good because of the challenges put forward by the pandemic. So there was continuous demand to give extra attempt to such students, but maybe the government is denying this demand. January 25th, the next hearing is scheduled. So let's see what argument is put forward by the court. Next is about India proposes to expand research tourism in the Arctic. This is also a very important point, because the first question that can arise in your mind, that why we need a research in Arctic region. So that we have to understand there are certain points. First is related with the availability of resources because of the climate change, what is happening, or because of the global warming, what is happening. Because of the global warming, continuously the ice is melting and a separate route is created. Through that route, ships can enter to such places where earlier they were not able to enter, and this is mainly because of the melting of the ice. So many of the countries, either you talk about USA or you talk about Russia or countries which are part of Arctic Council, they are taking certain steps in order to increase the research work or exploration in the Arctic region. India is also endeavoring the same. Next is about the knowledge of climate or geographical knowledge, because if continuously the if continuously snow is melting, if snow is melting, it will impact the planetary winds as well. The climate will also be impacted. It can impact the jet streams. It can impact the wind circulation, air circulation, which will directly or indirectly impact or affect the climate of various part. Third point is related with the sea level rise. Sea level rise is also one point, because there is one example. From the Antarctic region. There is this iceberg called Larsen Sea. The small fragment of Larsen Sea iceberg is floating, and it is said that it may reach to a place, small island area near South Georgia, and after reaching to that place, it can impact that island where many penguins habitat is there. So their habitat will be destroyed, and it may impact their habitat. So we can say it can impact the biodiversity of that region as well. The fourth point that you have to understand is related with the sea level itself, and it can impact the countries like India. The coastal areas will be impacted because the ocean water, Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea water will intrude inside the coastal areas, and it may result into increase in salinity of soil in these areas. And if the salinity of soil increases, it will reduce in the productivity. Various crops which are earlier grown, they will not be able to grow, so it may impact the food security as well. So if no crop is grown, source of livelihood will reduce. People will start migrating in the inner region, which may again result in some other challenges. So what we have to understand, to highlight all these points, to take certain policy decisions or to take certain steps, the government need to do continuous research in Arctic and Antarctic region. So government has highlighted its Arctic policy. It has come up with Arctic policy that we will discuss. So based on this discussion, you have to write the answer of this question: what impact melting of glaciers in Arctic region will have on India's coastal region? So you have to emphasize and write the answer of this question. So why we are discussing this topic? The reason is that India has unveiled a new draft Arctic policy, and this draft Arctic policies focus on many aspects. One is to improve scientific research, to improve sustainable tourism, and increase exploration for oil and gas, which can be used for the development purpose. But if such explorations are done, it may impact the region ecosystem. For example, there is this concept called Arctic Blue Ocean Event. What is Arctic Blue Ocean Event? As per this Arctic Blue Ocean Event, snow or icebergs or the glaciers in the Arctic regions are continuously melting. And when the iceberg is continuously melting, it means the snow is turning into a blue water. If this event takes place, it may impact the climate of the region. At the same point of time, many of the species, for example, polar bear or penguins, they will not be able to survive if such changes are taking place, and it may impact their metabolic functions. At the same point of time, their habitat will also be affected. So if the steps are taken for the mineral oil or gas exploration, it need to be done in a sustainable manner, and countries need to work in a very collaborative manner. Institutions such as Arctic Council, they can come together. India has the observer status in Arctic Council, so India can also participate in this, and the steps can be taken to increase the research, sustainable tourism or exploration for oil and gas, but it has to be taking into consideration the ecosystem of that region. The responsibility to carry out the research is with Goa-based National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. It will lead the scientific research, and it will act as a nodal body to coordinate among various scientific bodies. So the purpose of The purpose of making this Goa-based National Center for Polar and Ocean Research to lead this scientific research is to promote domestic scientific research capacity, expanding earth sciences, biological sciences, climate change, and space-related programs. So various kinds of research need to be carried out, and with this objective, the institution need to work. There are other objectives, as we have discussed, to explore oil, to explore gases, and this will again help to utilize the available resources for the growth and development of the country. So it also highlights the priority that India is giving to Arctic region. Arctic research, it will also help Indian scientific community to study melting rates, because if you are aware about the changing pattern in the Arctic region, the conclusion that we have derived will help us to know about the Himalayan region as well, because continuously the glacier present in the Himalayan region is melting, and because of the melting of the glacier in the Himalayan region, there are certain challenges that are coming up. The source of water will deplete. For example, these glaciers are the source of water for many of for many of the rivers. There are many rivers for which we can say glacier is the source. So with the continuous melting and with no formation of the glacier, the source of water for such perennial rivers will not be available, and it may further result in other impact, both economic, social, and even political impact in India itself. So we have to understand that what kind of changes are taking place, actually in the Himalayan region, and accordingly we need to take certain steps, and this knowledge we can derive by carrying out research in the Arctic region. So these points you need to remember. Next is CBI books Cambridge Analytica, another firm in data theft case. So these days we can say 21st century is what we call it as a fourth industrial revolution. It's an era of fourth industrial revolution, and in this era of fourth industrial revolution or digital revolution, it is our responsibility that we take steps to make these digital environment or cyberspace more secure. Without making cyberspace more secure, maybe certain rights of individuals which are enshrined in the constitution, that may be affected. Also, the government may face various challenges as well. For example, take the case of Cambridge Analytica, and there is one more firm called as Global Science Research Limited. They have illegally harvested around harvested personal data of about 5.62 lakh Indian users on Facebook. What they do, they simply create a small app. They ask you a few questions, or they provide certain monetary benefit, as a result of which many or lakhs of users, they are attracted to such app. They start using such app, and they start giving personal informations to these apps, and by using such techniques, such companies create a huge amount of data, and this data is used for profiling purpose. Profiling is done, and by doing profiling, they try to establish their certain commercial or some other interest. Even these data, which are, or we can say the personal data, these data can be used for the manipulation of election as well, which can have a huge impact in the democracy itself. So every democratic country need to be very much serious about it, because if elections are won by manipulating the data, somehow it will impact the trust in the democracy. So to maintain and sustain the democracy, we need to understand that personal data without consent are not shared or stored. This is required, and for this the priority that government need to focus is to come up with a data protection law. Like in countries, various countries various countries which are part of European Union, you have many you have data protection law, and because of the data protection law, these companies are not able to do such things, or if they are able to do such things, maybe various we can say various penalties are imposed in such companies. Although India has also taken some steps, and FIR has been filed by the CBI. Next is Covaxin efficacy against UK strain not proven. Here you have to remember this small point, B.1.1.7. This is a UK strain. So in prelims the question can be framed. So it is a UK strain of SARS-CoV-2. So it is stated that whether Covaxin, it's a vaccine created by Bharat Biotech, whether this vaccine has efficacy towards this strain or not. So for that we need to carry out a trial, and based on the data we can conclude on this part. But we also need to understand that these vaccines like other vaccines, like a vaccine created by Pfizer or the vaccine created by Moderna, we cannot assure that whether these vaccine shows efficacy in the context of UK strain, or the vaccine created by China, Sinovac, whether it has efficacy towards the UK strain. So that we have to understand. Maybe after a particular period of time, based on certain data, the conclusion can be made. Next is about the Serum Institute. In this article there are 2 points. One is related with the importance of Serum Institute, and second is about we can say about the Covax initiative. This year the question was asked related to the role of World Health Organization. So in that context you could have mentioned about the Covax initiative taken by the World Health Organization, which aims to limit vaccine nationalism. The initial assessment indicates that the fire which broke out in Serum Institute was because of the flammable material, and many workers, they have lost their lives. So certain safety precautions need to be taken by all the such infrastructure, mainly the fire safety norms need to be followed. This is required. Fire safety norms needs to be followed, because if there is any change in temperature while storage or during transportation, it can impact the vaccines, because vaccines need to be stored in a particular temperature. So all or different kinds of precautions which need to be taken, that has to be taken, then only we can say we will be able not only to develop trust among the people relating to that vaccine, at the same point of time we can move towards an effective vaccine distribution mechanism. We can develop an effective vaccine distribution mechanism. Even World Health Organization DG, he has also emphasized to limit vaccine nationalism. What is vaccine nationalism? As I have discussed earlier also, it means the countries, they are signing a bilateral agreement with other countries which are producing vaccines, and by signing these agreements they want to set priority to get the vaccine. They want that the vaccine to be given first to them, and they are ready to pay for it. So we call it as a vaccine nationalism. There are countries which are least developed countries, and in these countries also you have cases of SARS-CoV-2 or coronavirus. To such countries, or in such countries, it is the responsibility of World Health Organization to provide the supply of vaccine, and to provide the supply of vaccine, it needs companies like Serum Institute, which can produce huge amount of doses of around like for example at close to 3 billion doses. It is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine that form the bulk of our 10 billion doses which is required by World Health Organization. So large part of these doses are to be created by the Serum Institute itself. So Serum Institute has an important role so that this pandemic can be ended. Under the Covax initiative, under this Covax initiative, which was launched in April by World Health Organization, European Commission and France in response to this pandemic, many of the stakeholders, including the government, global health organization, manufacturers, scientists, private sectors, civil society, philanthropy, everyone is participating in a manner to utilize the common resources and also to provide the treatment for this disease and to provide vaccines, to develop vaccines against this disease. So it is the only truly global solution to this pandemic. It is only effort to ensure that people in all corners of the world will get access to COVID-19 access. So this is the basic theme behind Covax initiative of World Health Organization. The basic aim is to limit vaccine nationalism and to ensure access of vaccine to each and every country. This Covax initiative is coordinated by Javi, Vaccine Alliance, Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovation and WHO. And again, it also aims to provide every kind of support for the research, development and the manufacturing of wide range of vaccines against COVID-19. So somehow we can highlight the collaborative approach that is followed by these international institutions to fight against pandemic. Even this argument can be used to highlight the role of World Health Organization in dealing with the pandemic. It can be highlighted. This is also very important. This year the question also have been asked. Next is about when the government and the farmer restart talks, the Supreme Court must step back. Yesterday also I have discussed this point. The topic is related with the polity about the role of judiciary. Whether the judiciary can take the function of executive or legislature, the answer is no. As we follow the principle of separation of power, and this principle of separation of power need to be abided by each pillar of the democracy. But if the rights of individual is compromised because of policy paralysis or paralysis of the implementation, under such consideration the judiciary can intervene. But such intervention should also be limited by the fact that judiciary need to consider the idea that it does not take the whole sole function of the executive. For example, in case of farm law, the law can be amended by the government, or the solution to the farmers can be provided by the government. So it will be better if the government and farmers are carrying out the negotiation, and it will be better if the honorable court step back and steps are taken so that a trust between the government and the farmer can be established. So all these arguments you need to consider. Next is new framework around the caste and the census. In country like India, this topic is related with GS paper 1 society section. It can come under society section. It is said that India is a caste conscious society. In public we can say that we believe in an egalitarian society, but in private life we follow this aspect of caste, and to end the caste, to end the, or we can say to move towards the egalitarian society, it is required that certain reforms are taking place, certain social reforms are taking place. The interest and the development of the deprived section of society need to be considered. But the question arises, the question that can arise, that how we can ensure that the growth and development of any of the policy is reaching to each and every section of the society. The approach that we need to follow is to check the data, or to carry out certain approach to develop a data which will help us to conclude whether the development, whether the benefit of the policy is reaching to the concerned target population or not. If the benefit is not reaching, we need to reform the policy making, or we need to bring reform in policy implementation. Census, which is actually carried out since 1881. So census is one source of such data. At the same point of time, you have socio-economic caste census. In 2011, census was carried out. In 2021, again the census will be carried out. Socio-economic caste census also being carried out. The data that is generated and released can be used for the policy making, but the question arises whether such data are, whether the data that are shared, are relevant in the present context. Because in case of socioeconomic caste data, it is said that large amount of data is still not shared. Also, the data that is shared is not shared in a timely manner, so it need to be shared in a timely manner. It is also said that if we will develop data, or if you develop policy based on the caste identity, it may solidify or harden this identity, because it is the nature of human to identify itself with any identity, and this identity can either be caste. So we cannot take any step which is more bound by the caste. Rather, we need to take such steps which take into consideration each and every citizens who are deprived of any kind of benefits, or this or any kind of or they are facing any kind of discrimination. So in that case, in that context, we need to work. This is again a very important part. Socioeconomic caste census website, it states that all the personal information given in the socioeconomic caste census, it can be used by the government. So census in general provides the portrait of the Indian population. We can say it provides a complete picture of the Indian population. While socioeconomic caste census, it highlights about the policies that are being taken, whether the benefits of those policies are reaching to each and every citizen or not. And this idea, or we can say the benefits, whether it is reaching to every citizens, and we can say that whether it is reaching to each and every people who are divided on the basis of caste or not. So what is needed then is the discussion on the caste data. Caste data although is required, because based on that we can make the policy, and we can also make certain reforms. We can also change our course of action so that the benefit can reach to each and every citizens, and we can also map the social inequality. We can also map, based on the data, the social inequalities and social changes which are visible in the country. Apart from the theme specific to enumerating caste, there are other points that we have to understand. The basic point is about the timely release of data. If we take the example of 2011 census, is still we can say a certain data need to be released, specifically in the context of socio-economic caste data. Also, the data which is released is not released in a timely manner, so it need to be understood the time lag between each census and the delay in the release of the data. These two points need to be considered while doing the census or while releasing the data. So that's all for today. I hope this session is helpful for you. I request each of you to do like the session and share the session. Don't forget to subscribe the Concept YouTube channel.